Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having a great day. To start things off, where are the words? Bitcoin birthday celebrations have begun to commence all over the world, so saith the article. Yep, Bitcoin was apparently created, or the idea of Bitcoin was released on Halloween exactly 12 years ago. Happy Halloween for everyone out there who is a horror movie fan. Yeah, a lot of articles floating around about the creation of Bitcoin and where it's going and this and that and how awesome Bitcoin is. You can find them all over the place at the same exact time. The article says, impending pennant breakout sees Bitcoin price back on path to 14,000 US dollars. As the weekend approaches, Bitcoin's price appears set to close out the month with a remarkably strong performance, which has many bulls calling for a new all-time high above $20,000 in the near future. I'm going to get into so much stuff, and I hope this all blows your mind, because the pieces are falling in place. The dominoes are dominoing quite rapidly, and it is abundantly clear that Bitcoin is, I don't want to use the term the answer, but that Bitcoin has clearly been chosen by institutions and banks and governments to be the it as we kind of move forward. Traders attribute these lofty estimates to the fact that Bitcoin appears to have flipped $12,000 to $12,500 support, and barring some unexpected price implosion, Bitcoin is on the path to paint a beautiful monthly candle. Further bullish evidence comes from today's options and futures expiry, which saw $450 million of futures open interest expiring as of the 28th of October. Here's what's important just for this article. It says the most recent options expiry for Bitcoin and Ether really provided nothing surprising. Deribit is back to 137,000 Bitcoin option versus 150,000 options yesterday. Meanwhile, the CME has 215 million futures open interest expiring on the 30th of October, but this appears to have had a very minimal impact on the price, if any at all. I'm sure a lot of you are like, wow, that makes sense. Once again, the phenomenon of the pre- and post-Bitcoin price drop on the occurrence of CME futures expiries no longer exists, because it should have never existed, and I don't think that it ever actually did. This reaffirms the bull case for the recent run, and despite the negative news from Asian exchanges and Tether, end quote. The negative news, I'm doing a lot of air quotes today, the negative news from Tether being that people we're talking a couple of weeks ago about them printing or creating more Tether and what this meant. And the people from Tether say that it has to do with liquidity. If more people put money into the market, or if they have more investors who are investing in Tether to put onto the market, therefore more Tether is then created. The news from the Asian exchanges has to do with the one, was it in China? I don't remember exactly where it was from, where one of the executives, one of the people got hauled away, and he owns the other half of a private key, which I think the exchange can no longer get into. And I'm going to be, I try to always be as honest with you as possible. Sometimes I try not to be mean or say some really crazy things, but if you really want to know what the actual perspective is from another cryptocurrency exchange not being able to access their coins, keeping in mind once again that Bitcoin is not a cryptocurrency exchange. So if a cryptocurrency exchange has an issue, Bitcoin itself does not have a problem. Neither does its blockchain. The actual real idea is, if that cryptocurrency exchange can't access their coins, well, that does nothing to my coins except make them rarer. That's kind of the idea about this. So I'm always not confused. No, I'm pretty confused whenever prices drop because a cryptocurrency exchange has a problem. I don't know if it's a fear-induced panic that other people are going to sell, or if it's simply someone just being, oh my gosh, I don't understand. Like, clearly Bitcoin has been hacked. Remember a couple of months ago when Peter Schiff could not access his Bitcoin wallet, which I also love that he also has a Bitcoin wallet. And he was like, oh, Bitcoin's been hacked and Bitcoin's a scam because I can't get into my Bitcoin. And then we found out that he forgot his password. It's kind of like that. So that's the Asian exchanges and Tether part of it. And the other part that we've been discussing for years now is the idea that especially the freaking CME, the CME or any type of Bitcoin futures would have a direct impact on our Bitcoin price. The idea always was, well, institutions are thinking that Bitcoin's price is going to go down and therefore Bitcoin's price just has to go down. And I said before, I said that's stupid. It doesn't make any sense, especially it's the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. There are 50 states within the United States. I'm pretty sure that something inside of Illinois does not confirm the price of Bitcoin for the rest of the planet, just logically speaking. So whenever the CME would have a bad day, a bad week, or if Bitcoin's price was too low, our prices would start falling. And I'm like, that's not what's happening around the world. Like the CME is not the precursor for the price of Bitcoin, especially when we have governments and banks and institutions and just about everyone else buying up Bitcoin as well. Now that part has been said, the CME, I think they ended or the contracts expired and Bitcoin's price didn't move. Thank goodness, because it shouldn't have, especially when the CME's futures contracts are done in US dollars. It's nonsense. Anyway, that's the Bitcoin price news. The market's going up right now on the weekend. Who knows where it's going to go, but when I show you the prices, it looks quite nice, and it looks like we are attempting to hit $14,000 sometime either today or tomorrow. We are not that far off, and the entire cryptocurrency market is responding quite optimistically to Bitcoin pumping today. And also, Bitcoin been around for 12 years. Whoop, 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 whoop. And I'll point to this as well for those of you not looking at the screen. There's an article over here. It says Western Union to cease operations. And I clicked on it and I read through it and I tried to find more information on it. And the news is apparently they mean Western Union in a country that's under U.S. sanctions. And I was like, come on, man. Like, what's the... Because also, I think there was somebody wrote an article that had to do with Ripple and Western Union and being like, well, they can't use it anymore because they've stopped their operations. And I'm like, yeah, in a country that was under U.S. sanctions. So what do you expect was going to happen? Anyway, that's all the price news. And let's move on now. Also in the news today, the rising price of Bitcoin has coincided with a surge in migration of Bitcoin to Ethereum's blockchain. According to data compiled by Dune Analytics, more than $2 billion worth of Bitcoin is now on the Ethereum network. Ethereum-based Bitcoin accounts for nearly 0.7% of the total 21 million max supply for Bitcoin. And these 150,000 Bitcoin are equivalent to around 4.7% of the entire market cap of Ethereum. Investors moving Bitcoin, they misspelled it, to Ethereum's blockchain has exploded over the past month, rising from 80,000 Bitcoin, $1 billion in mid-September, and coincided with a general price rise for crypto assets. And then they talk about wrapped Bitcoin and all the other things that are Bitcoiny that have been inside of Ethereum. The fascinating part that I find is that this isn't slowing down, and I do not personally believe that it has to do with the entire DeFi space kind of thing. What it actually feels like is that people are trying to and have found another way to make Bitcoin even scarcer. I assume, this is an assumption, that a lot of the news that we've been getting about institutions who've been buying large amounts of Bitcoin has really only done something for institutional investors who've also decided to get into the game as well. And I think logically that the price should have moved from the news that we were getting. But a lot of times that we get news, I think just people it doesn't really click in their head as to why it is actually important when it comes to Bitcoin scarcity and more so where Bitcoin's price is potentially going to go. So I think this is why I even find the entire idea of Ethereum 2.0 interesting, which we're going to slightly get into in a couple of seconds, which I find quite interesting as well, is because you'll be locking up your Ether into the actual protocol. And the more that's locked up, the scarcer it gets. The scarcer it gets, the more the price rises. Same exact thing with Bitcoin. So I think when it comes to the idea of scarcity, Bitcoin's already incredibly scarce, which we're also going to get into in a couple of seconds. But the idea that you can make it scarcer by simply buying it up and then locking it away, and that Bitcoin essentially can never or may never be used and or moved again because it's now in a wrapped form or in another coin that's then going to be used, but that actual Bitcoin is stuck in that protocol for however long. Anyway, yeah, this is increasing quite rapidly. I assume that it has to do with all the things that we've been seeing, and I think people have simply found another way to mathematically make Bitcoin scarcer than it already is. Yeah, $2 billion is $2 billion worth of anything locked into something else is a huge amount, which we're also going to get into right now as well. Very interesting developments on this one, because I saw this and I was like, no way, that doesn't make any sense. Nope, it's actually true. It says a few central banks have started selling tons of gold for the first time since 2010 in order to ease the financial suffering from 19. At $1,875 per ounce, gold prices are down nearly 10% since the commodity's high of $2,075 on the 6th of August. Even though gold has dropped significantly in value in contrast to Bitcoin, gold bug Peter Schiff, who we were just talking about, decided to use the opportunity to rag on Bitcoin on Twitter. I think he actually has some type of problems, and I'm not really sure what it is. I've seen an increase in people talking about him on Twitter. I don't think you should really give this guy airtime, and I'm only mentioning his name because it's in the article and it pertains to what we're actually talking about right now. But every single time that this guy's like, well, Bitcoin's a bubble, they make like 15 articles about it. And I'm like, who the hell cares what this guy says? Like, he doesn't control Bitcoin. And I don't even care if someone gifted him Bitcoin, which they did, and he can't access his wallet. Like, it's absolutely no one should care what this guy is saying. I saw him rather recently saying so many bad things about the price of Bitcoin and where Bitcoin's going to go and how Bitcoin's a bubble. Once again, I'm going to give you the actual honest truth of what's going on. The selling of gold by a central bank is a very big red flag to any asset. If a central bank is selling off something that's meant to be a safe haven in a time of uncertainty, this is a very big red flag. I discussed with you all before the actual scarcity of gold compared to Bitcoin, and why we're seeing more institutions getting into Bitcoin is because Bitcoin is mathematically provably scarce. We can look on the blockchain, you can look at the code, and you can see that there will never be more than 21 million Bitcoin. It's in the code, it's right there. Regardless if someone has forked the coin or created a new version of the coin, Bitcoin itself, the number one coin, will always be that scarce. The issue with gold is that every single year, technology improves, and we are able to dig further and further into the ground than we previously thought before. If you've never, I'll tell you something else as well. It has to do with the idea of petrol, or gasoline, as many other people call it. In the 1920s, 30s, 40s, 50s, somewhere roughly within this time area, it was widely believed that by the 1970s, we would have none. Like, it was all gone. There was nothing left. And that was because the technology that we had back then, we were only able to dig this far actually into the ground, and we couldn't dig any further. And what ended up happening is that by the 50s and 60s, when we thought it was all going to be gone, our technology had improved and we were able to dig even deeper. And this happens more and more every single year. This is why continuously we no longer have this discussion of, well, there's not going to be a lot more left. We know that we can continue digging further and further. The discussion now is if it's good for the air, because it also smells bad when you're standing on a road and a car drives by you. Same exact thing for gold and silver and palladium. It was once believed, well, we can dig up this much of the earth and there's no more. We can't simply find anymore. The drills that we have now, the technology that we have, the automated robots, they can dig down for hours without having to need human hands. They're all over the place right now. So we know that there's going to be more gold in the earth. We know that you get what I'm saying. You should get what I'm saying. I mean, I think I was rather clear. The point is, the idea has been for a while, since I got into crypto, that eventually gold would be sold off and that money would be pushed into Bitcoin. I do not think that is what's currently happening. I think banks are simply selling it off because they have realized that they've stretched themselves so thin that they have no other option but to still lean on the collapsing system. However, this is definitely a precursor is the only word I can find in my head right now for what's going to continuously take place. We are seeing rapid, wide stream, mainstream, every stream, soda stream adoption for Bitcoin, and it's happening rather rapidly. Here are a couple of articles. Like I said, I saw this article on this website, and I was like, I don't think that's actually happening. Nope, it's taking place. Central banks sell gold for the first time in a decade. Central banks dumping gold could make 19 unfavorable for the yellow metal, and central banks around the world selling off gold bullion during 19. I think this is going to increase, and I do not think that we are that far off from banks openly announcing that they are investing in alternatives and or simply investing in Bitcoin. I can feel it. I know it's not that far off. I think this trend will continue. We'll see. I'm not a psychic. I don't really know. However, we know that gold is not scarce. We can continuously find more of it. It's the same exact thing with diamonds. If you never watched an actual documentary on diamonds and how rare they are, they're not rare at all. There are about 3 companies around the world who mine diamonds. They use, labor to mine those diamonds, and they actually hoard about 99% of them in wherever the warehouses, wherever people store diamonds, and they release a certain amount of them onto the actual market. The idea of a rare diamond comes from the 1910s and 1920s when they started having remember I told you all before the idea of how they used women in the 1910s and 1920s to actually get women to start smoking. Pretty much is because they were trying to find a way, because they had kind of maxed out the amount of people who were in the market to actually do so. It's the same exact thing with diamonds. Around the same exact time that the idea that Santa Claus could actually be monetized and use that to sell toys to children around the December time, which wasn't a thing before the 1900s. You can even look it up. The same exact thing happened for diamonds. They had too many diamonds because they thought they were nice and pretty, but no one was really buying them. So they started making advertisements pretty much telling people, if you love your girlfriend enough, you'll get her this ring. Diamonds are forever, which they aren't. And they started making all these other things, all these phrases that we now say, and that's basically because of that. And one of the main people who actually brought it into the spotlight, the limelight, was Marilyn Monroe. They used her for so many advertising campaigns to actually show herself wearing these diamonds at these events and stuff like that. And it caused other women to want to not only look like her, but be like her. So they also started buying diamonds themselves, and that's why we have rare diamonds right now. Everything is always a bit of a ploy. It always has to do with some company trying to figure out ways to make more money. And this is why we have the world that we have right now. It's very fascinating. I implore you, tell you to look up all these things because you'll be quite fascinated to see that a lot of the things and a lot of the ways that people buy things right now, especially this obsessive behavior, with people constantly buying things and always needing to buy things. How many of you have walked around during this year, and walked by stores and seen lines of people waiting in line? I can't forget it. Around May, June, July, when I finally was like, okay, I can go outside again, I was walking by like clothing stores and department stores, lines of 55 people standing, waiting there to buy something. It's because people have been conditioned their entire lives to continue buying. If you're unhappy, you have to buy. If you are feeling bad that day, treat yourself. It's totally fine. They make it so that there's always a trigger, and that trigger makes you buy things, and that making you buy things keeps you poor, and keeping you poor keeps you exactly where they want you, because then they accumulate all the wealth and all the assets. This is why, once again, we're at a very interesting time, because we are at the beginning of the market. I know a lot of people may think that sounds weird or stuff like that, but when you have a $12,000, $13,000 Bitcoin, and banks are saying that within the next year or two, the price could go to $100,000 to $250,000 from $12,000. We are at a very early stage, especially when you get the idea that maybe within the next 3 halvings, that Bitcoin's price could be $12 million per coin. Anyway, sorry for the ramble, but this is it. It all lines up. If you ever watch my other channel, I try and discuss a lot of these things, and this is also why I don't declare myself openly minimalist, as it were, but why I don't have a lot of things, because I know that I don't need these things, because they're simply marketed to me to try and get money away from me and out of my pocket. So I choose to invest in other things. Anyway, yeah. Reeling it back in, because we got really off track. Central banks are actually selling off their gold, which makes you wonder, why would they be selling that off at such an uncertain time? And also people are selling off their stocks and other things as well. So just pay attention to where this trend is going, because it's a very big trend, and I want you to all be a part of it. Yeah, let's move on. Next up, a fully owned subsidiary of the private Russian bank Gazprom Bank, JSC Bank, has received regulatory approval for rolling out institutional cryptocurrency services in Switzerland. According to the official announcement, the authorization from the Swiss Financial Market Supervisory Authority, or FINMA, with which the platform will be able to offer cryptocurrency custody trading services, as well as trading between crypto and fiat currencies to its corporate and institutional clients. The bank's CEO, Roman Abdulin, expects digital assets to become increasingly important in the global economy and in particular for its current and potential clientele. Paying attention, following the latest development, the exec went on to assert that the authorization by the Swiss regulator FINMA marked a very important milestone for Gazprom Bank and added, I don't have to read anymore. Here's the actual article, news story, press release right up at the top right here. The interesting part is that they have received regulatory approval in Switzerland, and they are a Russia-based bank, which leads me to believe that they probably did so because, you know, the regulatory news that we've been getting from Russia has not been too favorable for people within the country, especially the news that we also got a couple of days ago, that not only do the poor people have to now tell the government how much cryptocurrency they have, the rich people also have to do it as well. So I'm pretty sure that was like, hey, we should move to some place where we don't have to do that. Anyway, yeah, very popular news. I'm not sure if it was because it's another bank launching cryptocurrency services. I could have told you that. Every bank in the world is going to launch cryptocurrency services within the next 2 years. There's no doubt about it. It's already happening with all the other payment services as well. But with the entire PayPal announcement, it's going to be a huge cascade very, very soon. We're going to see everyone being like, hey, we're also offering that thing that everyone else is getting into because we want to be into it as well. And banks are going to have to start doing this because they see that other major banks are also into it as well. You have to understand that cascading effect from the JP Morgan effect a year ago, where they were like, yeah, we're also Bitcoin's not that bad. You better believe they got at least 50 phone calls that day with other banks being like, so what exactly did you do and how can we get into it as well? And also Switzerland has just been a very open door space when it comes to cryptocurrencies in general. And that's because, you know, I believe or assume it has to do with, you know, the rich people there. They probably know how to make money and how to get more money. So that's all that. Anyway, yes, that's the Russia-Switzerland news. Let's move on. According to a public note published in the supplement to the official journal of the European Union, Ocean Protocol, a Singaporean nonprofit foundation, was hired to create a decentralized network for Germany's Bundesbank. Germany's central bank said that the Ocean Protocol, which is a project of relatively limited renown, was chosen because they were the only possible contractor for the job, citing a lack of comparable competitors. Okay. Bundesbank detailed in its public notice that the project's main purpose is to set up a decentralized network approach which allows participants a permanent, symmetrical data access to the realization of real-time updates of statistics while preserving data sovereignty. The institution expects to work hand-in-hand with the Ocean Protocol to build a platform for securely publishing, transferring, and consuming public and private data. Blockchain technology is being utilized in many sectors around the world as regulators and lawmakers acknowledge the potential of this revolutionary technology. It was earlier reported that Germany's central bank is considering alternatives to a central bank digital currency, so this blockchain project might have something to do with it. Is this part of it? Yeah, here's the actual thing for it. I don't even know what to call this thing. It says tenders electronic daily supplement to the official journal of the EU. And here's the thing that we were just talking about. I'm interested in exactly the decentralization part. I assume this means that multiple offices around Germany will have a node to this thing, and I don't think they're going to open it up to the public. Just thinking outside of the actual box, but it would be kind of amazing if they did. Let's see where this leads. Let's see where this goes. I mean, sure, a lot of people get very excited. You wouldn't believe the amount of articles I see during a day. They outweigh the actual what's it called? The amount of articles that I see about banks and institutions and companies and people and launching blockchain projects are absolutely obscene. They're totally into it. They're not into it at this point. It's just a matter of, I think, all eyes are on banks to see what they're going to be doing when it comes to all this technology, because never forget, a couple of years ago, they hated us. We were the worst thing on the planet. No one's using a blockchain? No, I'm sorry, we don't have that here. They just didn't use blockchain. They didn't care about cryptocurrencies. And don't forget, Germany's, I think, the first or second country to have allowed all of their banks to be able to get into crypto. And the first day, we haven't had any extra news about this. I assume it's because 19 is a little bit more important. The first day, they had 40 banks who came forward and they all wanted to hold crypto. So one can only assume it's probably at least 41 at this point, just an assumption. Anyway, yeah, that's that news. And without further ado, let's move on. Next up, Ethereum's Berlin hard fork remains a few months away at best. So as it stands right now, there's apparently the 2.0 update, and then there's also a Berlin hard fork, which apparently is also going to be happening. Hard fork a few months away, according to the All Core Developers bi-weekly call held on Friday. A soft target of January is now in the works following the planned launch of the Ethereum 2.0 beacon chain in December. I saw the word December earlier and went ruh-roh because we all heard November. I have not seen any articles discussing Ethereum 2.0 launching in December. So I'm just going to throw that out there because we heard June, and then we heard July, and then we heard September, and then we heard October, and then we heard the beginning of November. You may all remember that because I was really excited because I was like, ooh, we're not that far away. And now it says December. Sure. Berlin is a hard fork of the Ethereum 1.x proof-of-work blockchain, the system-wide upgrade, which includes low-level changes for improving the original main chain. While ETH 2.0 is still under construction, was originally planned for July but was pushed back this summer due to a burnout of client employees and a perceived need for higher client diversity. Just do it. I've had burnout a couple of times doing this channel. You may have noticed it's difficult doing stuff all the time, so I totally get it. Hire new people. We are at the point now where you can't be like, well, you know, I said January, but, you know, December also sounds kind of nice. No, just get it done. These things have to be launched because I don't know. I just feel like it's kind of like a now or never thing for Ethereum. You can't keep saying that you're going to do something and then absolutely nothing happens. For those of you looking at the screen, Bitcoin has jumped up several $100s as I've been talking. It is currently at 13,924 on this price metric. It was just at I looked up for half a second. It was at 13,800. So yeah, let's see if it happens during this video. It would be mighty nice. Next up, also, and you should not be surprised at this news because I told you this was going to happen. According to D-Daily, blockchain company Hexland, founded by former Samsung developers and white label tech company Delio, have agreed to start working with the Ulaanbaatar-based Trade and Development Bank of Mongolia, or TD Bank. The bank is one of Mongolia's oldest banks, with 50 branches across the nation, ranking second out of the 17 Mongolian banks in total assets. According to the report, MDKI, a Mongolian mineral research and blockchain company whose partners include crypto mining giant Bitfury, was also included in the agreement. As it stands right now, for those of you who did not see this area, it says Mongolia's largest bank plans to offer cryptocurrency services. Mongolia's largest bank plans to offer crypto services, including custody, remittance, deposits, loans, and crypto asset management. Do you all see where this is going? If it doesn't get clearer, clean your window. I don't even know what to even say in that instance. Every bank is adopting cryptocurrencies. They are all adding them, custodying them, all something. Don't forget About 3 months ago, we all had news that every bank within America is also now, it was the comptroller of currency. I think, I don't know. There's a lot of little names floating around. Somebody somewhere in an office said that all U.S. banks are now also legally able to offer cryptocurrency custody services and to hold them and all this other stuff. Of course, they said that. And of course, it's going to happen. I'm telling you, in 2 years, all we need to really light. So first of all, they're probably already having conversations behind the scenes about doing this. They probably have been for a while. To get the actual thumbs up to say, yeah, you can definitely do it, is crazy. They're probably figuring out exactly how to roll these things out to gauge, to see if they can get enough people for the initial run-ups. You may have noticed, I have definitely noticed, there's a lot of people asking me very recently, like friends and family and other random people, how to get into crypto, how to buy a Bitcoin, how to buy a so-and-so. I'm getting these bombarded by these questions once again. Once again, this is mimicking 2017 almost to a T. The really interesting part is that we did not have about 500 banks around the world who were also interested in this. So what's going to end up happening is that when Bitcoin passes by $50,000, these banks are going to fall over themselves to send you emails and pamphlets telling you that they now offer these services and how much they want your money. It's going to take about another year or so after that, where nearly everyone on the planet is going to have a debit card that is going to be able to be linked immediately to your actual bank account or to your cryptocurrency account. This is just how it is. It's so, I smacked my nose right into the actual microphone. I'm getting too excited. The point is, yes, Mongolia's largest bank is going to offer cryptocurrency services because of course they are. Because every other country is going to do the exact same thing or is already offering to do the exact same thing. It's just a matter of them rolling out all these services because one of the main things for them actually is, it's not so much the AML KYC thing. It has more to do with the actual custodying aspect. They have to be sure that if they are getting into this business and they are going to be custodying your cryptocurrencies, there has to be no fault with it. They can't have an issue where someone hacks them, someone takes over that cannot happen. So that's kind of the thing that they're I'm telling you, I can feel it. It's in the air. I can feel the brainwaves, the airwaves. I'm feeling something. Anyway, the point is, Mongolia's largest bank, cryptocurrency services, they're all going to offer the exact same thing, yada, 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 crypto, and let's move on. Oh, same exact thing. Cryptocurrency services in yeah, cool. I could have, I could have told you that. Hold on. Wait for it. Wait. Hold on. Wait for it. Wait. Hold on. Wait. Okay. There we go. Got my phone unlocked. Yeah. As always. Yeah. Is that 13,927? As always, a very special thank you to my Patreon supporters, Professor Wally from Gunbite University, Snacky Chan, Tolak Banan, Auspicious Agile and Blockchain Decentralized, Peter Navarro, Williams, David James, Attila Dahan, Yasha Harari, Oscar Maldonado, Utopia 569, Moonman High, XRP, Joshua Vineyard, Martin Storio, Nostromo, John Saracen, The Animal Reader, Abilbiophobia, Todd Mullis, Adam Graysig, Mohammed Runny, Massive Ventures in Thailand, Jared Snyder, Wise Knight, Owl, 242 to the World, Bankroll Network, Crypto Artist, Cold D3D, Damien Setsuna, Richie Richard III, Vlad the Impaler, Paxis, Nick Mangelavori, Anthony Charles, Jim Gardner, Jamie Fox, Minting Coins, Miller, His Chest Every Day, and Cal Sleeps Leg Day. Yes to Crypto, Bodie McBoatface, Anytime Fitness, Marsh Corner Staff, Arfmedic17, Bake Me a Cake, Tigara Macho Nisa, On Crypto with Lionel, Crayola Michelle, URL, and Bolero Bastos. Thank you all very, 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 very much for your support. Thank you to everyone who's a member of the channel. And thank you to everyone in general for being here, for being awesome, for listening to me ranting and raving about history things. Bitcoin is at $13,970 US dollars. I kind of just want to sit here and watch it, but I think that would make the video very weird. If I'm looking at the screen and you're looking at me looking at the screen, we'd all be looking at each other, and that'd be a bit awkward. All the coins are up. Tether is, of course, down because everyone is buying. Bitcoin slipping, $18. It's fine. Everything is following. Bam, 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 bam. There's nothing holding us back from 14,000. There's absolutely nothing. Zero. Just a matter of, when we finally do it. Everything's reacting quite positively to the price bump. Yep, everything's going up. Yeah. Let's see where the rest of the day takes us. Weren't we just talking at the beginning of the video? I was like, maybe sometime this weekend. It should be today. I do hope that you all enjoyed I do hope that you all are having a great day, a great morning, a great afternoon, a great evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be on this crazy planet. I do hope that it is absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching and or listening. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. I really want to see if it does it. Oh, it's so close. Just go already. Sorry, that was inappropriate. It wasn't really. See you.